Today we're interviewing Sheila Kasasa, the CEO of FutureFirst. It's a pleasure to be interviewing you today. My name is Ral Kavuru. I'm an 8th grader at Oak Hill Academy and the Vice President of Company Roots.
My name is Sarish Shasti. I'm a sophomore at Homedale High School and I'm the founder of Company Roots. Before the interview, we just wanted to thank you for taking your time. The first question that we always ask is, what were your company roots and how do they help you get into FutureFirst?
Yes. Again, thank you so much for interviewing me today.
Thank you.
It's just really awesome working with young people all around the world.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you. So my company roots, I like to tell people I'm a third generation womanpreneur, which just means I founded FutureFirst with the understanding that if we spread entrepreneurship thinking around the world, we can get anyone into entrepreneurship.
Right.
And my mom got into entrepreneurship at a very early age, and so did my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what shaped my mission and vision to start FutureFirst.
So, in your own words, what is the difference between a profit organization and a nonprofit organization like FutureFirst?
Yeah, so nonprofit, so I'm a bit different. I think both organizations are companies and businesses
Mm-hmm.
and should be run as business. So a nonprofit organization is literally not for-profit organization, but it's run by a board. And a for-profit organization is focused on creating revenue and is not really run by a board that can be run by CEO or run by co-founders or collectives. But I definitely both companies should be, or both organizations should be built with income in mind.
Mm-hmm. So, how do you hire employees, and what methods and how many phases do you require to bring people on board into FutureFirst?
Yeah, so the biggest way I hire employees is to just make sure that they are passionate, right?
Mm-hmm.
In any company, you hire just to hire, because even if you have the perfect team, everybody has to be able to explain the mission and vision in such a way where this is really their passion.
Yeah.
And I believe that's what sells the company, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the big thing I focus on is, what is your passion? Does your passion align with the mission and vision of FutureFirst? And then I focus on the resumes.
Yeah.
And sorry, you had a second question in that.
Yeah. So, what methods and how many phases do you require to bring people on board?
Yes. So the different methods I take into consideration are, I look at people through LinkedIn, I look at referrals, but I'm really big on hiring within the community.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely reach out to different community organizations to just make sure that they are working with different people that they can refer me to.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be any organization from a nonprofit to a for-profit, but again, definitely organizations within the community.
Yeah.
And then there.
So, how did you create your team, and what steps did you take to build your inner circle for this organization?
Yeah. So the way I created my team was, first I built FutureFirst with my co-founder Courtney,
Mm-hmm.
and from there we kind of talked. Oh yeah, you all know Courtney.
Yeah.
So he's the co-founder.
Yeah.
And from there we reach out to both public and private partners, which just means we reach out to both government and private partners.
How do you seek to expand FutureFirst, and what goals or achievements would you first have to get?
Yeah, so we see FutureFirst expanding in different cities all around the world.
Mm-hmm.
Our first program we kicked off with in 2017 was a program called DC Youth Corps, which teaches youth 18 to 24 entrepreneurship and tech education. And with that information and those skills, we're then able to help the young people start their own businesses or enter the tech field.
Yeah.
And the idea is, if this is able to work in DC's ecosystem, then we can take it to South Africa, we can take it to Uganda, we can take it to Baltimore or LA or any city around the world. And so our vision for expanding is, we want to spend one more year tinkering out the program, making sure that it's perfect, and then being able to deploy in different cities.
Yeah. So, what goals or achievements would you first have to get to expand, or to start going to all these cities you mentioned?
Yeah. So the biggest thing right now for metrics is because so Future First is more so a public-private entity. So definitely the goal would be that we're able to sustain ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
both with public funding, but as well as with private funding, which just means
Yeah.
healthy enough revenue stream that even though our seed funder is the government, we can maintain financially without the government if
Yeah.
that was in any such case, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this year, the idea is we're able to pilot out that program and that concept. And if it works, then I think that would be the perfect achievement to then say, okay, let's look for other government partners to be seed funders or seed investors,
Mm-hmm.
and then be able to focus on another revenue stream in another city.
Yeah. So, what advantages do you see in having a nonprofit model for an organization or a business versus like having a profit model?
Yes, that's a tough question. A nonprofit model, I think the benefit of having a nonprofit model is you do have that support system, which is your board, right?
Yeah.
So you CEO and you have your board, which the board buy-in, typically board members are investing their time, they're investing finances, resources you might not have. So let's say a board member is an accountant and you're not an accountant as a CEO.
Yeah.
The member is an investor and you don't know anything about investing. So I think that support of a board is key, and I think that's the one big what's the word I'm looking for? Is the one big step of foreign profits if they do it right, right? So the
Right.
idea is if you're able to leverage your existing community, then it can work, right? So
Yeah.
if your board is a great support system, then it works. Which
Mm-hmm.
is why you see a lot of nonprofits start one day,
Yeah.
then they're gone day, right? Because they didn't have the healthiest and perfect board.
Mm-hmm.
And for profit, I like to challenge for profit companies to actually take the same routes, right? If we're seeing this model works with a board, then why not build a board yourself?
Yeah.
So with Future First, we actually have an advisory board, which is up to 15 members right now.
Okay.
And it's different people from people in the tech industry and different sectors of tech, whether it's cybersecurity, web development, and then it's also different members who were previously engaged in government, and then entrepreneurs as well. So
Mm-hmm.
again, if creating a situation where everyone around you is smarter than you, that's always key,
Yeah.
and sure that they support you.
Mm-hmm.
So, is your final goal is your final mission or goal to have 1 billion people contribute to entrepreneurship? Because that's what it said on your website.
Yes. The reason it sounds funny and crazy is because we definitely think that entrepreneurship is the way, is the new way, is the future of work, right?
Yeah.
Uh, have a lot of side hustles. We know our parents have side hustles, our friends, our families, our aunts and uncles have side hustles, right?
Yeah.
And so we're starting to realize that society is creating a culture that promotes business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So not everyone is a business guru, but if you think entrepreneurially, you're able to solve issues within your community,
Right.
you're able to solve issues within your city, your state, and the world, right?
Yeah.
So if we think entrepreneurially, I can be a doctor and I can think entrepreneurially and I'm able to solve a problem in such a way that's not the textbook way, right?
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs are not textbook educated,
Mm-hmm.
right? I got to figure this stuff out. We Google, we research. I know you all did the same thing for your company, right?
Yeah.
You get to research, you watch YouTube videos, and you listen to podcasts, and you reach out to friends and family for advice, right?
Yeah.
That's what an entrepreneur does, is they think outside the box, and they're trailblazers, right?
Right.
So people can just take that concept and apply it to different sectors, to science, to the arts. I definitely think that entrepreneurial thinking will definitely change the world.
Yeah. And like in our interview with Courtney Grange, she actually told us a little bit about this entrepreneurial mindset as an approach for not only your business but also for your entire life. So, taking that into account, what methods and strategies have you implemented to spread the word about Future First?
Yeah, so one key method is challenging concepts, right? So we just talked about how you can use entrepreneurial thinking within science.
Yeah.
You can use it within the arts, right? Everyone loves textbook understanding, right? It's what I learned in school, and we do it this way, and that's how it has to be done.
Yeah.
But with entrepreneurial thinking, that's not the same concept, which just means you solve issues differently and you think differently, right?
Yeah.
So again, we're the kind of organization who we will go to. Let's say it's a workshop on international development,
Yeah.
and we'll come and talk about entrepreneurship as a platform for international development, right? So entrepreneurship is a platform that you can use to create access to the middle class, right? And all that means is if you're able to get people to think outside the box, they'll then get creative with their job search, or they'll create jobs within themselves, right?
Hmm.
Which then means build cities, right? You're able to hire people. You're literally able to employ people and give back to the economy. So again, strategies are going to where people don't think we need to be, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and then starting from there and spreading the word organically. And other strategies, of course, social media, because we're disruptors, we're change makers. We definitely have to be on social media
Yeah.
to just question things and just make sure that people understand that it doesn't have to be black and white. And if we change concepts, then we're definitely going to change the future.
Yeah.
So, before your website included your mission and your vision. So, was the point of your website and also right now to engage and bring in people who are interested in Future First?
Mm-hmm. Sorry, can you repeat that question again?
Is the point of your website to engage and bring in people who are interested in Future First?
Yes and no. The point of our website is not necessarily to engage. The point of our website is to, I guess I like to say collaborate, right? So if I'm able to teach you this concept, you should be able to go and teach the concept to your friends,
Right.
right? So how do we create a platform where people feel that they have the confidence to take our same tools and deploy it within their community, their neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
That might be entrepreneurship through tech education. That might be entrepreneurship through medicine. That might be entrepreneurship through the arts. So again, our website is more so a platform for people to feel like they can connect to us, but we would be then engaging with them in order to just give them different toolkits.
Yeah.
Then they then deploy different concepts. So it
So,
could be workshops, it could be trainings. An example is DC Youth Corps is built for Washington DC,
yeah.
but the idea is we can take the same concept and
And
white
spread it.
label it and use it in a different city or state. Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's not about Future First feeling amazing that, oh, there's a Future First in China, in Nigeria. That's not the concept. The concept is that city or state or country will then take on the same program, but redefine the program to fit their needs.
Yeah. So, what percent of your users use workshop, bootcamp, and apprenticeships? And is there any certain reason for this?
Okay, so last year we started with 50 youth,
Hmm.
and so we piloted last year. So we're less than a year old, right?
Hmm.
So last year we started with 50 youth, and the youth were able to do different tracks within the tech field, right? So they
Yeah.
are able to do data, web development, UX design, ecosystem building, which is more so like product management, or cybersecurity, right?
Yeah.
Uh, we had roughly 75% of the students complete the program. And the reason it was 75% was because last year we piloted with youth starting at 15. So a lot of our young people had to go back to school, right?
Right.
Of course, those are amazing stats, right? And so those youth got, not only did they get psychoeducation, but they got entrepreneurship training, and they were able to take the skills and work on their job site within those sectors,
Yeah.
right? So for this year, we actually want to be able to take the same concept and stats and have the youth do our program for a year rather than do the program for 12 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So year-long program, we're looking for new data. The idea is that months that they're within our program, they're then able to learn the education piece. And the next 6 months, they're able to go to their job site, so the apprenticeship piece, right?
Yeah.
So they're able to apply their skills, right? So the idea is if we maintain a 75% path, that's very high within this. That's very high within the sector of business. So the great thing working with government is our youth actually paid to come to our program,
Mm-hmm.
which also means we have a percentage of retaining young people.
Right.
And and imagine right within that we meet, and so that's basically what happens with our young people. So yes, our stats and the percentage of young people are great last year, but the idea is we're able to take that this year and be able to see what kind of stats we're able to get with a year-long pilot.
Yeah.
So, as the CEO of FutureFirst, what goes on in a day-to-day basis in your office?
Oh my gosh, it's chaos. So in our, it's, let's say, most of the time I have either speaking engagements or workshops that I have to do.
Mm-hmm.
It means I'm running around Washington, D.C., and I love talking on different workshops about inclusive education, which just means making sure Black and Brown kids are represented. Some days I'm doing workshops on design thinking,
Mm-hmm.
which is a methodology of creating ideas or getting ideas and turning them into products or prototypes.
Right.
And so, yeah, and usually they're doing workshops or speaking engagement or strategizing. Because we're so new, we constantly have to strategize and constantly pivot with the market because no concept like this really exists.
Right.
Uh, we have a few companies that might be similar that we've looked into, but I think we're the only ones who are actually going at this head on
Yeah.
and make sure that we use minorities as the focal point of change.
Mm-hmm. So, what percent of the people that go on your website make a donation, and what is your ideal percent for that number to be?
So because we're for profit, people don't make donations. But
Sorry.
yeah, but we are raising seed capital.
Mm-hmm.
So where the board comes into play to make sure that they get us in front of the right people to be able to fundraise with investors.
Right.
So, excluding your family, what one person or group of people has helped you in your journey to create FutureFirst?
Yeah, so definitely my mom and my grandmother. They're both entrepreneurs. My grandmother lives in Uganda, and she started 3 businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom lives in Washington D.C. Area, more so Maryland area, and she has 3 businesses as well. So I think just being around them and seeing how they started their businesses and how they're passionate about their businesses and building their employee base, also being mission driven and
Mm-hmm.
passion driven. Definitely 2 people that I've used to help me start it and build Future First.
Right. So, what specific strategies would you give the next generation of entrepreneurs and leaders to succeed in high school? And we always end on that question because we feel it captures the essence of what Company Roots is about, and also for your own company.
Since this goes perfectly with FutureFirst.
Yeah.
Yeah, strategies. One big strategy is figure out how to constantly be a disruptor.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Always be the change maker with anything you do, whether it's high school, whether it's again in your community, whether it's church or whatever you're doing. Find a way to be the disruptor,
Mm-hmm.
because if you start disrupting, then that means people are starting to pay attention, right?
Right.
Question: nothing should be the way it's supposed to be. Nothing. Everything is constantly changing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, to strategize. How am I going to be the best disruptor, right? What does that mean? That means you're constantly problem solving. Because if you're disrupting, you're seeing something is not right. I'm now going to problem solve, right?
Yeah.
So what to do if, let's say, I just go to an event and I'm just listening to the event, I like to raise my hand and ask a question that's going to throw the person off, right? And some people see that as just being annoying, but no, really ask, why do you believe what you believe? Why is this way, right?
Yeah.
When you just thinking like that and thinking like a disruptor, then you're always going to be able to problem solve in any situation.
Mm-hmm.
So start taking that as your own market research, right? As you're seeing how disrupting is working in school, is working in your community, use that as market research that you can then take and apply it in different scenarios, right?
Yeah.
So whether you're building your business or it's creating a social impact cause, right? Or it's building a community-based organization. Whatever it is, if you start looking at the patterns of you disrupting, then you start realizing that that is your own special sauce for market research, right?
Mm-hmm.
And market research is huge and it's unique, and people pay millions and millions of dollars
Yeah.
to get this market, right? So imagine if you're starting to do it in school, right? So that's the best way I can say it is be a disruptor. Make sure people are listening to what you're saying. Make sure people are engaging so they can also learn, right?
Right.
Learning is not a secret, right? And it should be shared. If you have a different methodology of learning, share it, right? But how do you first get people engaged in what you're doing? So I think those are the three biggest things I can say. Because
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm always the person who shows up, and people don't expect to see me. And they start realizing that, oh my gosh, you have so many people working for you. Your company is so young. How did this happen?
Yeah.
And because I always ask questions, right? So I always make sure I have a seat at the table in anything and everything I'm doing.
Right.
And if you can figure out how to have a seat at that table, keep solving until you have a seat at the decision making table. Because as a young person, it's your responsibility to not only represent other young people around the world, but also be able to represent the next generation,
Yeah.
right? Brothers, your baby sisters, your baby cousins. That's the next generation, right?
Right.
So if you get a seat at the table early enough, that's the generation you're feeling, right? So again, be a disruptor. Don't take no as an answer. If somebody says no, figure out why. Why did they say no? How can
Yeah.
I better myself? And try to keep solving. Because the moment you stop solving, then whatever you're doing is no longer relevant, and there's somebody else who's going to solve for it, or nobody will solve for it.
Right.
You know?
Today we interviewed Sheila Kasasa, the CEO of FutureFirst. Thank you for giving your time today, and it was a pleasure meeting you.